Today's December 1st. Yeah, December. We are 1 week away from winter meetings, and I'm just hoping things can start heating up this week. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Let's go. Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them pirates. We talk about them pirates and that. My name is Josh. I'm joined as always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
Hey man, how's it going?
I took a huge nap today. It's going, actually, I would say like really good, but also kind of still waking up from it.
Yeah. It's cold up there, right?
It's cold. It's winter. It's time.
Listen, Ron, I'm with you, man. It's chilly down here too.
What's
I'm
up?
not saying cold. It's chilly.
Yeah. Okay. What's up, Ron? He's in the chat. Everybody say what's up. Who's out there? Always appreciate you guys in the live chat. And thankful again for everybody. Listen, if you are listening on audio, we do this live Sundays and Thursdays for the release. Go subscribe on YouTube. It's a cool time to come hang out for the live chat. We've got some more people in here. Jim Rosati, what's up, man? And Pit City What says, it is cold city.
Mm-hmm. Listen, there was frost on our grass this morning.
Listen, come on, man.
Ice on windshields, like that's not appropriate.
We've got a little 1919, the last one that I have. Little 1919 root beer for the.
I got Dr. Pepper tonight, and there's out of the 23 flavors, there's got to be a little bit of root beer in there somewhere.
That's fair. Seth Johnson, what's up? So tonight, this is the off season, right? This is where we have this list of things. This list of things that we're like, okay, if there's ever a day where we've got no news, we've got plenty of things on a podcast to talk about. So today's one of those things, but it kind of was sparked by a question that I had from a buddy of mine. So we will get to that. Mostly just about change and rules and things like that. Listen, it's a good discussion, and it's something that, you know, we don't feel like we revisit these things a lot, and maybe there's a reason why. But you got anything to kick us off here? Tommy Edman re-signed with us. Piling on the Dodgers now. Do we hate this? Does this make us more mad?
I'm starting to get frustrated with the Dodgers because I mean, you and I have both said before that we like the way the Dodgers do it. You know, they homegrown, then they add to it a little bit. But this is getting insane. They're adding to it a lot. This is a reason. Blake Snell wasn't Shohei. I mean,
right. But I'm saying, like, when you say Tommy Edman, though, like
I wasn't necessarily talking about Tommy Edman. I'm just saying they're just keep deferring money, and like no one else can do that. So yeah. I don't. It is getting frustrating. It is starting to get a little frustrating.
Again, though, let me just say though, that it's not pointed at the Dodgers for me. They're doing what they're able to do, and power to you. Keep spending. I'm telling you, it's not the Dodgers. I ain't mad at them.
I get it. Gosh, but I know that you hated the Yankees for spending all the money before.
Yeah. Well, but that was different because, well, first off, younger, don't understand a lot of things. Second,
that's fair.
It was all free agency. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't, right? But then you say, oh, well, yeah. What happened? What's Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte? Like they had their guys too.
Andy Pettitte.
He was a Yankees guy coming up, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Then he left and then he came back.
Oh, did he leave and then come back?
I think he was a Yankees guy to start. Maybe not. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, the point is...
You know more about that stuff than I do, really.
Yeah, I mean, the point is too, though, at the same time is, that was like right out of the change and all that stuff where it became like, oh, this is how you have to play that game. And I think a lot of other teams are starting to figure it out. And they were kind of setting some things. That was a dynasty. It is what it is. And you know what? The Yankees were a dynasty. And if the Dodgers are building a dynasty right now and they're going to win 3 out of the next 5 or whatever, like that's happened before. It's not like it's like, oh, the end of the game, right? I mean, guys are going to get paid. And we talked about change. We talked about change in that setting before, in saying that, like, hey, what the Dodgers are doing against what the Pirates are doing, it doesn't matter. This doesn't move the needle for the Pirates. Needle for like the Yankees. Because if they can't play in that, you know what I mean? Now the Yankees are going to start calling a problem. Anyway, might be good for us. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Either way, it ain't the Dodgers I'm mad at. Right? It ain't.
Fair.
It ain't.
It's fair.
If the deferrals and all that stuff is then fitting for tonight, we're going to talk about changes. If the deferrals are a problem, then change it.
Yeah.
Just if you don't go all full bore, and I think that eventually also salary cap, shared revenue, one full revenue tunnel, whatever it is. All of that stuff will come, right? Eventually. It has to. Every other sport's there. It'll all eventually come. So whatever steps have to be made. But if one of those is, hey, we're going to change the way deferrals work, either you don't do them, or you do them and they still just count fully against your tax. Whatever. Give the Pirates a floor. So when you want to bring that thing home, it still doesn't make the Pirates spend money.
Right.
So that's the thing that's kind of like, get it, just get until there's central revenue, until MLB owns all the media. You just won't get salary cap without that. There's no way to evenly disperse the funds. But anyway, that's a topic for another one, and I don't have all the answers. So you can come at me in the comments, and I will listen to what you say. I may not come back with an argument because I don't have the answer. I love that conversation, though, and it needs to keep happening no matter what way it goes, because the more of the conversation we have, the more of knowledge that we gain. Let's check. We got some drinks out here. Baja Blast for Seth. Jim Blast in the Baja Blast Zero Sugar is the GOAT. What's the Taco Bell one? Is that where it started, right? Then they come out.
That's where it started, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dave says it's cold in Georgia. Okay, go ahead.
Ashley loves it, but she doesn't like it out of the cans and bottles. She only likes it out of a fountain.
That's fair. That's where it started, right? That's where he fell in love with it. Ron says they're predicting Tyler O'Neill to the Pirates. 3 years, $45 million. I'd love that. Any objections, Jake? Let's do it.
No objections.
All right. Once again, Pit City What saying don't hate the players, hate the game. Dave White would like to see the Pirates try to trade for Jordan Westberg. A lot of O's love. Fittingly so. There's a lot of O's love.
They got a lot of O's surplus.
You never know, man. He might be one of the guys. If they make some different moves and they bring in somebody else, what if they go out and get Arenado? All of a sudden, Jordan Westberg is able to be traded rather than for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that would rather have Westberg than Arenado. I don't know, though. Like, if you're trying to push right now, I mean, does Arenado give you a little more guarantee? I don't know. That's a good question. How bad is the aging? Is it just the fact that their team wasn't good? If he gets on a good team, I think he'd fit for an Arenado.
Yeah.
So that's it. And Mike says, I think there's going to be some trade between Pittsburgh and Boston. Biggest thing is they have a business relationship with each other with the RSN. That's true. So, where it's a good and there's common ground there, right? We've talked in previous episodes about maybe like a Luis Ortiz for Abreu, their right fielder. So you get an outfielder for a pitcher, and you've got a little bit of that. It's not going to be for prospects. Like, they need a guy that's going to.
Yeah.
And then the bigger splash stuff would be like a Jared Jones for maybe like a Tristan Casas or something like that.
Yeah.
like a bigger kind of thing. So you never know where that's going to go. Ron, I've seen some people talk about Austin Hayes. I don't think he by the O's, or was he DFA'd by the Phillies? Is he the guy that
Phillies?
He went to the Phillies in season. The Phillies DFA'd him. I've got a buddy who's a Phillies fan. He said, "See you later." So if that tells you how, but I don't know. It's kind of like the Brian De La Cruz thing for the Pirates. Pirates fans him, right? And there's some Marlins fans who may say like, "Oh, this is an interesting one." So, yeah, Mike's hearing Tristan Casas, and then he removed that, so I can't remove that. And for whatever reason in this deal, yeah, there it is. OG to the Phillies and non-tendered. What's up, OG? All right, so let's get into what else do we got here? No Skeens debut patch still that we know of. I've got two theories. It's already been pulled and they're keeping it a secret. Or
it's in Rosati's unopened box.
It's in Rosati's unopened box. That could be. That's the second one. And it's sitting in there, Jim. You got to open that box. We're all waiting on it. And then the third thing is it's way and it's going in somebody's stocking and we won't know about it till after Christmas.
Yeah, that could be too.
So yeah, we'll see. And Seth, if I said Austin Hedges in a slip of the tongue, I apologize. Austin Hayes. I don't know which I said. We'd have to go back to the tape and find possible. I've been known to slip up every once in a while. Jim says it'll remain there in that box. For those of you who don't have context, Jim Rosati has an unopened, I think it's a mega pack, that he just isn't opening. And I hate, he has another unopened box of cards from 2018. If you guys missed our live stream that we did on here, Jim came on, the guys from Bucko Banner. Go check out that live stream. It was during the Rookie of the Year announcement, but we were talking cards. It's the front of everything, and he brought that up on there, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Thought so. So, all right, Seth, it was your ears. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this question I got and how we think about this, because this to me is it's a pretty fun thing to talk about the changes that have happened in baseball. Maybe taking a look back on them. Hindsight's 2020, maybe, in some of these things, and maybe some things we miss about the way it was, some things that it made better, worse, whatever it is, right? But the message that he sent to me was, if Skeens played before the National League, would he have won us any games that we lost from last year at the plate? What do you think?
Probably not. How do you answer that? Like, since Air Force.
It hasn't been that many years, though.
Yeah, but
if it's there, it's there. It's a legitimate question, though. What I mean, like,
yeah.
The bat's there. You got to remember, like, in that time, like, there were, the whole hashtag pitchers who run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We've talked about some certain guys.
He may have fell into something like that, but it still wouldn't have. I don't know. I think back at some of the guys that I think of when I think of good hitting pitchers, like Mike Hampton and what was that? Micah Owings was almost all the guys for the Braves.
Carlos Zambrano. He was a good hitter.
He was a switch hitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I don't know how Paul Skeens would have stacked up to some of those. I don't know. It's just so hard to tell. It's a possibility. I mean, he's a gamer. He's gonna, you know what I mean? He's a big game guy. So possibly.
In the chat, guys, I want you to kind of throw in some names of guys who played for the Pirates who specifically what I want to know about is home runs. So if you remember any of the guys that could hit or could hit home runs, I'd like to know who was. I can't really ask it because they'll put it in there. So I'll ask you first, Jake, and then we'll come back to it. You have any guesses on who the last that hit a home run?
Any guesses? I mean, if I had to guess, I'd probably say Stephen Brault in Colorado.
It's a good guess. It's not right. So if anybody's got it, don't look it up. Have a little fun with this. Don't look it up. Don't ruin it for the chat. We'll get there. The other question of that, Jake, is who was DHing for the Pirates last year, and let that weigh into the idea of whether or not he would have made an impact. So a lot of those games were either Kutch or Brian Reynolds. I guess a few, like there was a couple because Grandal would have been catching Skeens. So like when you think of it that way, you'd be like, I don't really know. I mean, because there is that, like he hasn't been hitting. So I don't know, but like you said, he's a gamer. Ron Heichel says Liriano. I like that. That's also a good guess. But yeah, when you think of it that way, I don't know, but it would be interesting to see because we have a lot of talk right now. I mean, obviously, Shohei Ohtani, unbelievable, setting the tone, right? And then we have a lot of guys like you think about, right? And is he going to be two-way or not? You know, Paul Skeens just a couple of years ago dropped the bat when he went to LSU, pitcher only. How many of these guys came in saying, we're going to give him a shot? Wasn't Hunter Green a two-way prospect when he first got drafted?
I have no idea.
I feel like, but there's been a few other ones. And, you know, this is interesting, OG. I don't think Musgrove is, I don't think he had a home run for the Pirates. But that surprises me. I didn't think of him. When I looked it up, I wasn't thinking of him, but like he could swing. But I don't think he did because I have a list of the last 10 and he's not on it. Oh. So unless something went wrong in my search.
Brault's on that list though, right?
Brault is 10? On that list. Yep. There's one guy Liriano, more recent than.
There's only one. So I got that. Okay. So I was really close.
I told you it was good. And Liriano was not the next guy, but the next guy after that. So it's still top 5 guys, most recent guys, but also Liriano's on this list more than once.
Yeah.
So that's why it's specifically a good guess. So like 2022, the DH came to the National League. We've seen 3 years of it now. What do you miss it? Are you adapting to it? You okay with it? But at the same time, like, and both things could be true, right? Yeah, I'm fine with it. I like it. I do miss the old brand of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, both things are true for me. A little bit, but I mean, let's face it, we're getting the best lineups we can get right now. You know, I don't hate it. I'll throw that out there. I don't hate it. So do I miss the old brand of baseball a little bit? But at the same time, it's just the end of the day, everybody pays money to see the best hitters hit and the best pitchers pitch.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. It does kind of bring together. I'm seeing an error. I hope we're still here. Viewers will experience some slowness, I'm seeing. So hopefully we're still good. And I need to tell my family to get off the internet. No, I'm kidding. No, I think we should be good. It's done this before and it's kind of come back. But yeah, the last home run hit by a Pirates pitcher, I guess, just jump ahead here, was right here.
Where teams would take that bunt away from a pitcher. What? Hit it out! Wow! Tyler Anderson just swatted a home run.
Tyler Anderson.
I would not have got that.
Unbelievable.
2021.
That was awesome. Maybe
I would not have got there.
No. Tyler Anderson, the hit a home run. That was July of 21. So now just that we've seen some of these names already. You got any other names of guys that were the last 10 home runs hit by a pitcher? And anybody else in the chat too?
AJ Burnett's probably in there.
AJ Burnett's in there. Anybody out there too who of maybe some of the leaders? Some of them are kind of hard because they're older.
Give me the oldest date. Like number 10.
Yeah,
like,
the number 10, 2009.
Okay, so Garrett Cole's probably on there.
Garrett Cole's on there.
Liriano's on there.
He's on there twice.
Okay, so we already got 5.
You have 7.
Oh, I've named 7 already.
Well, no.
We've named 7.
Guys that are multiple. There's a couple guys that are multiple. So
I got
you've only got 3 more guys to name, and you've got the whole list. And I don't know that you will. Actually, who am I missing? No, you've got 8 of them. Yeah, you've got the top 8. There's 2 more that were in 2009 and 2011. Seth Johnson. Rowdy was the last one. You are all wrong. I love it. That's a good call out. That's better in the replay of that, but okay. Yeah. So while you're thinking, Ron says, I don't like it mainly because the leagues are too much the same in all aspects. And so that's actually one of the things, Ron, that I think you could also look at is that it kind of made everything cohesive and uniform, specifically when you're talking about a balanced schedule. And the American League had such an advantage over the National League when you played interleague play, because if you were at a National League field, like you had Big Papi on the bench to come in to hit for. Pirates had their 9th best hitter on the bench to come in to hit. And so now you can see a roster construction a little bit different to where you've just got, what it is. I do miss the National League brand though. I would have been just as happy with them getting rid of the DH in the American League as I am adding the DH in, because coincidentally, it's done nothing to help pitchers.
Yeah.
Pitchers are still getting injured. Pitchers still aren't going deep in the game. It's done nothing to help pitchers. It might have actually made the pitchers. Well, it couldn't have. I think the pitchers still would have been taken out early because it doesn't matter, right? It used to be that strategy of, well, if we use a guy here, we have to take him out because he's due up first. Well, you are going to do that anyway. So it hasn't changed. It didn't extend the life of a starting pitcher. That's what it didn't do. Like, oh, it's a 1-0 game. There's a guy on second with 2 outs. We could let our pitcher hit. Oh, he's only given up 1 run in the 6th. Or we could take him out so that we could try to score that run. And they don't do that anyway. They're going to take him out anyway. So it just doesn't matter in that scheme of things. But
Brad Lincoln.
No.
Take it, rake, man.
No other guesses. And we've given the chat long enough to look it up too. Look how noble these guys are, not looking it up in the spot.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the last 2 because we've got other rules to talk about. Actually, listen to this though. Jim says there has been in average innings pitched by starting pitcher. That seems wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why you talk about things, and this is why these things come up, because that surprises me. That's incredible. Yeah. So, foreshadowing here, scrap interleague. It makes baseball very vanilla. That's really interesting. Maybe foreshadowing some of the things that we're going to talk about.
Ice cream, though.
That's fair. Tyler Anderson was the last one. Then Steven Brault in 19. Garrett Cole in 17. Liriano in 16. Garrett Cole in 16. Liriano in 15. AJ Burnett in 15. Garrett Cole in 14. He's on here 3 times. He had 3 career home runs with the Pirates. And then our last 2, 2011 was Ross Ollendorf.
Ollendorf.
And 2009 was
I almost said Paul Maholm. Dang it, I would have had him all but Illendorf.
You
I
would
would
have
not
had
have
him.
come up with him.
No, you wouldn't have come up with Paul or
But
Paul.
Maholm I had on my brain. But I was when you said I'd know I wouldn't. I was trying to compose somebody else.
Okay. Ron said Zach Duke. That's a good guess too. That era when you're talking like Paul Maholm, Zach Duke, those guys. You know what I mean? That's a pretty good guess too. But yeah, that's the list of the last 10 home runs for Pirates pitchers. I think Paul Skeens could make that list. I think he could.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely could have made that. I'm gonna run into one.
Yeah. And Dave White says the DH rule makes Skeens' ERA this year even more impressive. You're facing an extra hitter there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's another good point. So this is one rule. The 2022, well, first in 2020, then officially dropped in, you know what I'm saying, with the COVID stuff, and officially adopted in 2022. And take a look at back. I went back to like 2014 because before that, it's like 2008 was limited replay. 2014 was when they expanded it. So 2008, and then it's like, is it after 2008? It goes all the way back to, I had the list here. Where's that list?
80 something.
Well, it was 88, but was there one in between? No, not one in between.
So.
1988, catchers must wear, wait, that's not right.
No.
1988, catchers must wear protective helmets while on defense. They can't wear a hat anymore. That's the last change before 2008. Major change. There's changes every year, right? Like this year, we sped up the pitch clock. We did the first baseline. That's like a rule change, but it's not like implementation, right?
Yeah.
Before that, 1978, this is the one I thought was hilarious, right? A pitcher can't throw at the batter. 1978, we finally said, you're not allowed to do this on purpose. That's the first time that this rule was in. I thought that was hilarious. Like before 1978, it was like, yeah, you can hit him. If you want to hit him, you can hit him.
It's fair.
But some of the other changes, the Buster Posey rule in 2014, the replay was expanded to covering safe and out. You know what I mean? 2016, slides on potential double plays will require that the runners must make a bona fide attempt to reach and remain on the base. We remember that. We still talk about that, right? We actually talk about that, and we'll probably get into this because I know you've got thoughts on that certain scenario. 2017, pitchers are to throw 4 intentional balls to walk a batter. Manager may now just point and put him on. 2020, non-COVID things like Manfred runner, 7th inning doubleheaders, 16 postseason teams, universal DH, which was, those things were removed and then a couple of them added later. But for relievers, they've got to face 3 batters or end an inning before they can be replaced. And then there was some draft lottery implementation to discourage tanking in 2020 as well. And then in 2022, they brought back the DH. The postseason expands to 12 teams. This is increased 15 to 18 inches. This is all 2022. Defensive shifts banned. This was the big year for all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fittingly so. It was the CBA and all that stuff. And then Manfred runner made permanent in 2023. The pitch clock was brought in, as well as the pitchers limited to. And then there's changes to these rules throughout, right? But these are like the major implementations. And of course, there's a major implementation that could be coming soon in 2025 in spring. They're going to test the ABS challenge system for balls and strikes. Okay. And so we're going to start to see that challenge system come to the major leagues, at least in spring training. And they're hoping to put it in by 2026. That's going to be a major change as well. Something that we'll be talking about next offseason. And I don't know if there'll be anything else coming up this year, but there could be.
We'll be talking about it this spring. What are you talking about?
We'll be talking a lot about it this spring. You're right. You're right. So I want to pick any of those out in particular. Is there anything there that maybe sticks out to you that you want to attack? Maybe 2016, the slides on double plays and that, stolen bases, all that stuff.
I mean, you're saying, is there one? And
well, we're gonna Oh, well, where do you
Right,
want to go
right.
first is the thing.
But it's the one I probably like the least is the 15 to 18 inch bases. I just think it's
Okay.
dumb. It was unnecessary. You're changing something in the game that just is. There's just nothing wrong with it.
Did it have any impact?
Yeah,
You think it had a huge impact?
yeah. I think it's crazy right now,
And you think that's why?
and I just don't like. I don't. I think that's a big reason why.
You think? I still
do.
can't. I still can't get around to thinking that a bigger base makes me change my mind.
I mean, it's in the numbers, man. They're running like crazy anymore. The
but
Pirates
but
don't,
they
but
changed
everyone
more
else
than
is.
one. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but-
They changed more than one thing.
Yeah, I get that, but I just look at this and you see Acuna. Listen, Acuna's a stud. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but 70 stolen bases. Cool, man. Giant bags. With all these rules that you can pretty much run a lot easier than you used to. I'm just not overly. I'm impressed. Not overly impressed. I hope I'm making sense that I
No.
many bases. Like, I get it. You stole
Yeah.
a lot of bags. I get it. I'm impressed. I'm not overly impressed.
Guys have stolen over 100 before, Jake.
Guys have stolen over 100 with smaller bases when it was harder to steal. So it's like,
well, assuming that it made it harder to steal.
I mean, so many bang
But
bang plays on
guys
stolen
didn't
bases.
throw. But guys didn't throw as hard. Pitchers didn't throw as hard. The slide step was still existed back then.
Yeah.
Nobody uses a slide step anymore. It's all about getting the batter out.
Yeah. There wasn't as many guys throwing as hard. People.
But I'm just throwing it. I'm throwing all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, right? I'm just saying
Right.
these are the things that are said. But let's talk about. I mean, because pitchers aren't trying to hold guys on the way they used to. They certainly can't as far as pickoff moves. That to me was the biggest change in the base running game. I can't even throw over there. I only.
Yeah, but.
And I've got a clock that tells me when he's going to throw.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Ricky Henderson would have stole 230 bases.
Catchers are so worried about framing a pitch, they're not even going to throw. They're not popping. They're framing. I don't know if any of that stuff is even true. There might be better pop times now than ever before. I'm just saying. There's a lot of things that could be playing into going back to, like, I'll be honest with you, Jake, people are just trying more. That's it. There's more base attempts. If we have that looked up, we come up with this stuff a lot easier and looked up a bunch of stuff, but Thanksgiving and then the weekend and everything. But imagine, like, I imagine that, like, stolen base attempts are up by a lot. Teams are willing to take that risk more often right now.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then no wonder there's. I think it has to do with the fact that they added 3 inches to the base path. That's my thought.
They took it away from the base path.
And
they took.
I meant
it wouldn't be
3 inches closer. Yeah. Well, I guess first to second is going to be a little more.
First to second and second to third is there because you got to account for the whole. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was unnecessary. I don't think there was anything wrong with the bases. Like, I don't understand why we did it.
If that motivated people, it worked. I don't think it's making a difference whether they're safe or out. But if it fooled them into trying more, then
100% it's making a difference.
I'm just saying.
I bet you look that up. I can obviously can't guarantee because I'm just whatever.
I don't think there's any way you could ever find out.
Because they one time.
No, I don't think that even if you looked it up, I don't think there's a way that you could science that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think there is. Good jumps and bad jumps are stolen bases or not. Catchers throwing good throws or bad throws as a stolen base or not a stolen base. Like, the number of like and good pop time, good throw with a slide step, the number of those events are probably so small that you're going to have a data set of 10 plays, 15 plays, 20 plays.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like 50 Like, how often do all of those things happen at the same time? Oh, he got a bad jump. That's why he got thrown out. Oh, he's safe because the guy threw the ball and the shortstop had to reach above his head to catch it. A lot of those things are also in play, right? And I don't think in those cases like that made that much of a difference. I think he'd have been safe anyway. And also, they can't slide anymore. None of them are good sliders. Do we have anybody talking about that in the chat? Please. But I am getting some disagreement here. Seth says more surface area to get a hand on the bag and makes the base pass. So, I mean, like I said, if it entices you to run more, I still think that with the smaller bases, if they were motivated to run more, we would have seen a lot more stolen bases. There's probably a handful of like 20 stolen bases a year that actually are because the bases are. You know what I mean? I think most of them are going to be handled by the fact that the throws aren't there and all that stuff. Jim Rosati says 2022 stolen base success rate 75.4%, 2023 80.2%. The change was made in 2022. So that's 2 years and it got better the second year. But nothing was changed between those 2 years.
Right.
Except more people are probably trying. They saw what happened in 2022, so they started running more. And I still think that there's, well, Jim, a bit, but like you got to look at 2023. I mean, I'm sorry, you got to look at 2021, which was a short season, shorter season, but still that's a success rate. So you could look at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because 2022 and 23 are both with the new rules.
Is the last like full season.
Right. Yeah. If you compare 2019 to 2022 and really like every year it's going to say like, hey, like, what was it in 24? I mean, you had Shohei stealing 40 bags. You had Ellie De La Cruz stealing over 60. You know what I mean? So you have, a couple of guys still get, there's still a lot of stolen bases. I think more guys are trying. And I think there, and Ron, I hope Ron makes the comment, once the auto strike zone is in, framing will be useless. I hope it never does. We have to remember that what they're doing, challenge system, which means framing still counts. Catching still counts. Umpires are still going to call every pitch. Jim says it was 2023. I've got it listed as 2022. Yeah, that's a 2022 rule. Is Baseball Almanac literally telling me it was 2022 because it was made in the winter of 2022? Did I just get duped by Baseball Almanac because they made the change in the winter of 2022 before New Year's Day? Did it just totally dupe me? You would have thought that Baseball Almanac would have, because I just was like, hey, give me a timeline. And Baseball Almanac has it in 2022, unless I'm reading this wrong. Let me look closer, guys. Hang on, because this is a table. Is this my... I look like an old man right now. Totally my error. It's a table. 2023 is centered. So the expansion to 12 teams, the bases increase, and defensive shifts that are banned, I put in 2022. Be it. The only change in 2022 was the designated hitter. That's my bad, guys. See, this is why the chat is so important.
Yeah.
Jim's all over it, and I'm totally fooled by the fact that, you know what, I have to. Those of you who are here and they're live with me, and I don't know if I've even fixed this. I haven't. This is the old view, but I want you guys to see this. That there is like a line right here that you can see, and then this line, all of this stuff covers 2023, and when I was just assuming 23 and down. So all of these changes that I talked about are all over the place wrong. So actually some of them are right, but you understand where I messed up just to, thanks guys. This is why the chat rules. This is why doing this is helpful. So thanks, Jim. for setting me straight. Sitting here talking about. So when I read all those rules off, I don't know what order they were in. Well, let's just go back in time and pretend it was all right. Okay. Thank you guys. And that is a big difference. So let's go back to this now. We got a 5% increase.
Yeah.
In safe or out. Still think though, what I really want to know is I want to know the attempt rate, not the success rate.
That's kind of what we're talking about here, though, is the success rate.
And he does clarify here. Changes of bases, which, and so this is why I think it's opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think the pickoff rule is, I was a base stealer in baseball, right? And so when I thought of these things, I don't think that I would have ever thought about the success of that, like of the bases being, have ever thought like, oh, geez, you're not ever going to throw me out again. You know what I mean? But knowing that he can only throw twice, knowing that because I guess I just don't see like, if I get a bad jump, I'm out. If I get a good jump, I'm safe. That's the way I looked at it every single time. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are. I really don't. Now, I played where I played, right? I didn't play against major league catchers.
Right.
If I got a good jump, I was safe every single time. Pitch out or not, if I got a good jump, I was safe. So as a base stealer, and I'm thinking, you're talking about major league players, base stealers. These are way better than me. I know. We'll get there. It's on the screen for those of you watching. I'll get there. But these are major league guys. These are way better than me. You remember Nate McLouth? Remember his high school numbers?
Yeah.
What were those numbers? In his high school career?
The exact numbers, but
ridiculous. Let's look at these Nate McLouth high school numbers. Just to show you. Because it's on the Wikipedia. I remember that. Oh, come on. He stole 180 bases in 181 school. And he went to high school, Jake, in Michigan, which means he played 20 games a year, max. Yeah. He was rained out. He was probably snowed out a couple times. 180 steals. Never on base enough times to get that high. Let's talk about a professional player here. But also, like, if I knew that the guy couldn't throw over, oh my gosh. I always said that a left-handed pitcher with a right-hander up the bat, I could steal third every single time. Pitch. I could yell, I'm stealing, and I'd be safe. You can't throw me out. You imagine what Nate McLouth thought?
Yeah.
This is it. Seth said, Nate McLouth numbers. This is what I showed up for. I love it. I love it. So Jim says 2022 attempts, 3,297. 2023 attempts, 1,369. It is more than 1,000 stolen bases attempts. This is what I am talking about. This is why your success rate is better. Because the base stealers who are good at this are running a lot more. Now, everything plays, right? But this is what you wanted by the rule change. Okay, that rule change is either good or bad. It's based on attempts. That's what says whether that rule is good or bad, because the rule was implemented to create more action, to cause them to run more because they weren't running anymore. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessary. At least they would never say it was to get more runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Jim does the math for us. Up about 35%. That's incredible. So looking back at that rule, and we feel like it's silly, but Jake, what do you? This is a big deal, and we're going to combine the two, right? We're going to combine the two. This is a big deal. That's an impactful rule.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. This isn't, to me, it's just like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think that the bigger bags had as much. This is going to sound like I'm going back on myself, right? But I'm trying.
Yeah,
to
we want to
all
move
this
on to
in
some
real
more
time.
rules too. So let's get.
Yeah, I just don't think the bags themselves
So you are saying
especially
that it made a huge difference and it shouldn't have been done.
Yes.
Okay.
I think there was enough other rule changes that he made for stolen bases that was just dumb.
So you would have liked to see the attempts tick up, but not the. I don't know. I don't know how it would have played out. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what about any of these other ones? Because we're talking about, I mean, obviously postseason is a big thing. There's a lot of talk about in the chat right now about the auto zone, right? Zone. All of that thing. So Ron saying he hated the idea until the umps started sucking so bad. Pit City What makes a point here that I think kind of goes into that. I can't stand the TV broadcast strike zone box. I like judging a call myself. I think this is a big deal. They need to get rid of that entirely. Because what it means is that you have comments like this when really the umpiring is probably not. I mean, it's not the average umpire's like accuracy is like 96% accurate. And so, and I don't know that number, but I know that like terrible. And every time I think a guy's terrible, he's like at like a 93%. And then you say, okay, but when I look at the statistics, that's really bad. And then I'm like, 93% is really bad? Like they're not really bad. Yeah. They're 93% accurate, but it's the fact that we think they're really bad. How many times have you been at a game and said, this umpire's terrible? And then you look it up and you're like, no, that's in the strike zone. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't ever, you don't have to look, right? Because you want that juice flowing in the stands. You know what I mean? Let them have it. Let them hear it. Remember, learn the umpire's name, him out by name. That's the way to go. When Charles makes a bad call, you let Charles know he made a bad call. Don't yell blue. that's it.
If you're a player on the field.
No, in the stands. Let's do it.
No. You know,
no, if you're a player on the field, they don't do blue in the major leagues. You do not do that.
No.
But in the stands, let's do it. Anyway, this is the other thing. OG says the TV box isn't the real zone a lot of the time. This is a huge part of it. Like we see it hit all the time, or we see it miss, and then go look it up on like game day and all that stuff, and you'll see a lot more in the zone than what you think, or out of the zone, or whatever. It does change, and it doesn't change as much on the TV. Like they probably just click and drag when Judge is up and Cruz. You know what I mean? And then when Altuve's up, they just shrink it down a little bit. You know, like they're not
a lot.
I didn't mean those two back to back.
I know.
But to me, this is a big thing for me, and maybe this is not popular, but this is the way I feel. Maybe this is dating my age a little bit, but I think there's a couple guys in the chat today that's got me beat. Okay. But I mean, I saw somebody about Omar Moreno. So yeah, Ron, Omar Moreno with these rules. So he's got, but the thing is like, if you're set up on the outside corner and you want that curveball down and out right on that corner and you throw it up and in hanger, you should not get the strike for that, even if it nicks the zone. Like, I just think you missed your pitch. That was a bad pitch. That as a strike. That's me. That's probably a little bit old school. That's how I feel about it. I feel like if you execute, you should get it. And if you got a guy out there executing, and he's set up outside and you miss it by an inch off the plate and the umpire gives it to you, then I'm saying like, I'm okay with that. He's been dealing all game. It's the old thing. You earn that. You got it. Now, this is what I love about the challenge system. If that's a really important call and the batter sees it and he's going to challenge it, they're going to tap their head to challenge the call and he gets it right, I'm totally fine with that. I think you should have a chance to say, listen, I know what you're doing back there. Strike, challenge, right? And it also creates a new game inside of that. We're going to talk a lot about that. By the way, just to go back, Jim says in 2024, the attempts went up even more. And it's going to keep going up, I think, because people are going to start learning that, hey, this is working too. When are the Pirates getting on that train, Jake? Let's get the Pirates on that train. Let's steal some bases.
Right.
All right. So we took a lot of time on that and we are getting close to our hour. It's our normal thing, but this is a really fun conversation. Just back, I'm like, you know what? I actually like both of those changes now. Even though the step offs are a direct result of the pitch clock. And we could talk about the pitch clock as fast as we possibly can. Like I said, to get through these, I feel like we took a lot of time on one that I'm actually surprised that's where you went. I thought you would go to the slide. Now the bases should go indefinitely up. And if you do a pop-up slide and just come slightly off the bag, so long as you're directly above the bag, you think that you should still be safe.
Yes.
Only if you've made contact prior to that and just popped up a little bit. I think also you could teach sliding, but as an alternate rule, you could also teach people how to slide, but that's me being sarcastic here. But anyway, I know that that's one of the things that you've talked about. And so I thought that you would actually go there. The intentional walks, right? This is a pace of play sort of thing. As much
I
as
hated it when I'm okay with it now.
As much as you want to see Miggy Cabrera hit one in right field for a base hit, one on a pitch that was supposed to be outside, and as much as you like watching those old school, whatever that, I forget what that one is that they always show where the guy's standing up and then they throw a strike anyway and he stands up and he gives him one of these because the batter just leaned back. I'm all fine. Put him on. If you want to put him on, go ahead and put him on. And the pace of play stuff to me, and this goes for a lot of things, right? This goes for pitch clock. This goes for a lot of things. What I noticed after the pitch clock was in is that that's the game I used to watch. We had stretched these so long and so far that someone needed to step in and make a change in it. And I hated it. I love saying there's no clock in baseball. I hated it, but you have, when something gets too far out of hand, sometimes make a change. And the pitch clock to me that's the game I used to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But when Eric Bedard went on the mound and we called him the human rain delay, which that name was given to a lot of guys, I've found out over the years. Now that became everybody.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, let's reel that in. And so to me, that's a big thing. With all of those things, I really actually, hindsight 2020, I don't hate it. I still don't talk, but I understand sometimes you have to do things, and that's the game that I love. You know what I'm saying? That's the game. I want to be there on the edge of my seat. I don't want to be able to go up and get a drink and come back and not miss a pitch. If you want the game to grow to people, that's a good point. Antonio Bastardo. 1 inning, 45 minutes. It's also 4 runs in that inning. So, but you know what I mean? I really do feel like that was a good change as well. And, you hear the comments all the time. I haven't liked Rob Manfred. I still call the base runner at second base in extra innings the Manfred runner. I don't like that rule. I still don't like that rule as I watch it today. I understand it. And is it necessary? I'm not sure yet. And I don't know that I don't know. I think that's just an opinion. Everybody can kind of have theirs. I don't like it. I don't care for him.
I feel like in 1989, it would have helped. I think, back in the day, that runner would help. There wasn't as many home runs. As much as you just one swing and you get more. I just didn't feel like it was necessary.
Sure. It's just one of the things that it's one of all these changes. Like I said, I can get along. I really like the 3 batter minimum. I don't like going out and getting a lefty to face one guy and then going right back to a righty. I feel like that drags out the game. I love the 3 batter minimum. Like the pitch clock as much as I thought I wouldn't, because of that. I like replay. Yeah. I don't mind you getting it right. I think it needs to really be tidied up. It's a hard 2 minutes. If you haven't made a decision in 2 minutes, the call stands. And they've done that recently. Yeah. They capped it at 2 minutes and they said, we will not go longer than that. I understand the idea of everybody wanting to get it right. And balls and strikes are coming to that. And I see a lot of that in the chat, and that's fine. We just don't have the time to go into balls and strikes. We will talk about this again this off season, this spring. This conversation will continue. We might even just kind of push this offseason and just say, let's talk just about that. Because I'm sure everybody's got thoughts, and maybe we'll look through this and pull somebody else in on the conversation just to have more opinions behind it. But the Manfred runner is the one that I've just never gotten on board with. To me, I like, and if you paid a ticket, right, and you went to the game and you're like, dude, this is too much. It's too long. It's too slow. It's not anymore. But when it gets to extra innings, like you got your money's worth. If you want to go home, go home. But those of us who want to stick around for an extra inning game, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I want to see it. You know what I mean? No, I just think I understand it's about pitchers and it's about all that stuff. And I think there is a limit. When we're throwing position players instead of pitchers, that's the only argument you have for the Manfred runner for me. If you're telling me that once we get to the 13th inning, you've got nobody left and you have to throw a position player, that's when I'm kind of like,
It's like college football, right? When you just watch that game this weekend where 1,400 overtimes.
Yeah.
The overtime rules change a little bit as you go. The
Right.
first overtime you kick a field goal or
That's a good
kick an extra
point.
point. Then you do it
Could
for
they
two,
have-
and
yeah.
then you just go for two.
could they push
Like-
the Manfred runner?
I like this one. I like this idea, Jim. Just change the extra inning like hockey. One extra inning, then the two teams compete in a home run derby to win it. Let's do it.
Yeah, something like that.
I
Okay,
love
wait.
it.
Extra innings to one
It's like
extra
one of those-
inning. Yeah, and then a home run derby.
Yeah, you get you get an extra period and then a shootout.
That would be interesting. See, that's a lot of fun.
That'd be
Like,
fun.
that's a lot of fun. Anybody you want too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool if it was just the lineup though? You still if you got Jacob Songs coming up, dude, sucks. It still hit the lineup. Whatever
He
you're
may
at
be
in the
able to hit
lineup.
bombs. Hey, maybe he hits bombs in batting practice. We don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe. That's cool. But like, yeah, you're talking about, in college football, which by the way, the NFL should totally go 25 or 35 yard line and just run plays from there instead of doing the whole thing. That'd be awesome. And then it keeps flipping and all that stuff. Dude, I think that'd be great. But yeah, could they push the Manfred runner out to the 12th inning? Let's go 2 regular innings, or at least the 10th inning. Like, give us baseball for the 10th inning.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay, it's 11th inning. We got to move things along. Let's do it. Yeah, maybe. And then the 12th inning, it's second and first. Or third base. The 12th inning and on, it's third base. I don't know. Yeah, this is a good call right here. Pitt City let Jason Bay try to win a home run derby. That's really good. Oh man, for the context there, the home run derby shutout Jason Bay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that I think could still be messed around with. Manfred runner, like I said, it's the one. Looking back to the rest of them, I mean, even the defensive shifts, like I'm fine with it. It was something that, the Pirates were front runners in this, right? They were early in this. Them and Tampa Bay were, Tampa Bay, if you credit Tampa Bay for starting it, you can credit the Pirates for abusing it. Clint Hurdle was like, wait a minute, that works? Boom. We're doing it. Those were like 100 times, and then the Pirates are there for like 400, 600 times. You know what I mean? It was like something just obnoxiously large. And so like, that was one that kind of got abused. And then you said, you know what? Let's go back to baseball. And I think, you're fine to do that. I think that kind of stuff is fine. It's interesting how in hindsight, we can go back and we can look at these things and we can say, all right, I'm in. I hated the pitch clock, Jake. I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually improved the game. My standpoint, right? So this is obviously opinion both ways.
Right.
I don't know. There's been a lot of changes. I just said 1988 to 2008, there was nothing. As far as like on the field type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild.
And now it's a ton since 2014. And don't use my timeline because I can't read.
Josh and charts are not friends.
We actually are. I don't understand.
Yeah, I know.
If they just would have put 2024 at the top and then We'd have been all right. They centered
Mhm.
it. That was the problem. They centered it. That's not how a timeline works. You don't center a timeline.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, Baseball Almanac, get your act together.
Fix your charts.
All right, guys, we're going to shut this thing down. This is fun. I spent less time on one and more time on some of the others, but
yeah,
it looks like, by the looks of the chat, it looks like we need to talk about the strike zone a little bit more. And so maybe we'll line that up at some point and talk about those types of things a little bit more and see if we can pull a name like, who did I talk about? Nate McLouth. We had some good ones. We had Paul Mahalan. We had Eric Bedard today. We had Nate McLouth. We had some good name calls out today.
Mm-hmm.
You got any more there? Ross Ollendorf? We said his name on a Pirates podcast. Our Lord 2024. Let's play some music.
Oh my gosh. Let's go, Bugs.
This is fine.
Let's go, Bugs.
My dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!